week 7 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few running backs I looked at off the wire this week. The first back, Sean Tucker of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We know Rachaad White was out in week 6 in that ball game at the Saints, and they destroyed the New Orleans Saints. 51-27 was his Tampa Bay Buc team. And Sean Tucker, last season we heard a lot of hype in his rookie year about him, but he barely saw the field. And then he got an opportunity splitting with Bucky Irving in that week 6 game, and he went off for a monster performance. 14 carries, 136 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown. So Sean Tucker, he was a big-time college football player. Injuries definitely dropped his stock in the NFL draft, but we saw what he could do on the field. Did a pretty good defense at the Saints. And even if Rachaad White comes back, I think Tucker's earned some time in the backfield, going over 100 yards all season long. They've had trouble getting consistent yards per carry between the two backs for Rachaad White and Bucky Irving. And Sean Tucker, right now, definitely a running back that's catching a lot of people's attention. And I don't believe they're going to rush Rachaad White back. Bucky Irving looked good as well. He found the end zone, had 18 PPR fantasy points, and Tucker went out there and he just tore it up in that ball game with 34 fantasy points. So right now, Sean Tucker, after a monster performance like that, I don't think Tampa Bay could shy away from him. And he's definitely a running back to head off the wire this week. The next running back, Isaiah Guerendo, the San Francisco 49ers. Guerendo filled in for Jordan Mason after he was banged up with the shoulder injury in the first half in last week's game with the Seattle Seahawks. And Guerendo, 10 carries, 99 yards in that game. And he's got a lot of speed as Guerendo, where they told him to slow down on that run where he just slid and ended the ball game where he could have found the end zone. So right now, it's the AC joint in the shoulder for Jordan Mason. They're not saying it's serious, but Guerendo, if he's going to step in to the starting lineup for this 49er team, he's going to have instant value. Obviously, great system to run the football. He's got elite speed coming out of college. Is the rookie Guerendo, available in 96% of fantasy leagues. And like I said, he's going to get a big workload if Jordan Mason is out, because we've seen the first 6 weeks of the season that Jordan Mason had healthy workloads and Guerendo would fit right in with his speed and in between the tackle ability for this 49er team. So right now, we'll see as the week goes on with the reports with the injury for Mason. But Guerendo definitely someone to keep an eye on this week. And it's back Tyrell Algier of the Atlanta Falcons. Tyrell Algier, he's been one of the best handcuff running backs over the last couple seasons in pro football. Right now, he's available in 70% of fantasy leagues. In the last few weeks, the touches have gone up for Tyrell Algier. We know he's a talented running back. He could be starting, I believe, for half or more than half the league if he didn't have Bijan Robinson ahead of him, obviously. So week 4 versus the Saints, 8 carries, 60 yards, 2 catches, 20 yards. Week 5 versus Tampa Bay, 6 carries, 12 yards, 3 catches, 13 yards. And week 6 at Carolina, 18 carries, 105 yards, a touchdown, a catch for 3 yards, 2-point conversion. So I know Algier got some garbage time in that ball game at the Carolina Panthers. But like I said, he's one of the best handcuff running backs in all pro football. And if Bijan Robinson ever went down, Tyrell Algier would be the next man up, and he would be a top 10, top 15 option weekly, I believe, for this Atlanta Falcon team for fantasy owners. So like I said, the touches have gone up a little bit, 8 to 12 per week, even though he had 18 plus in this one at the Carolina Panthers was Tyrell Algier. But he's still definitely a running back to keep on the radar and one of the best handcuffs in the league. And a running back to head off the wire this week. The next running back, Ty Chandler of the Minnesota Vikings. Ty Chandler, he's been one of the better backup backs in the last couple seasons, I believe. Right now, available still in tons of leagues, 73%. And we'll see what the reports come out this week as well, with Aaron Jones coming off the hip injury where he hurt it last week versus the New York Jets in that London game. So Ty Chandler, he showed some flashes this season on and off. And then in relief for the injury for Aaron Jones, it wasn't a good game for him. 14 carries, 30 yards, 2 catches, 9 yards. And now on the bye week, and after this week, it's the Detroit Lions coming to town for this Minnesota Viking team. So like I said, if Aaron Jones is out, Ty Chandler's going to step in with Myles Gaskin mixed in as well in the starting lineup. And we'll see. Aaron Jones, I've said it a lot all year long. He's a talented running back, no doubt about it. But obviously, he's good to miss 2 to 4 games per season is Aaron Jones. So right now, Ty Chandler out there in a lot of leagues, and you still could pick him up off the wire before the Monday night game starts here tonight. So I would give him an ad this week. The next ad, Kamini Vidal of the Los Angeles Chargers. Gus Edwards, he went on injured reserve. We know J.K. Dobbins is the starting running back, but he's not obviously going to get every touch as J.K. Dobbins. And Vidal is a decent receiver out of the backfield. And in his first career regular season game with this Charger team, he showed up with a nice performance at the Broncos. 4 carries, 11 yards, 2 catches, 40 yards, and a touchdown on a 38-yard touchdown. So now available in 89% of fantasy leagues here is Vidal. And you always want to find these rookies in the mid to later part of the season where they could be league winners, no doubt about it, for fantasy owners. So like I said, with Gus Edwards on the shelf, already had their bye week in week 5 for this Charger team. We know rookies get into the playbook more as well after the bye weeks. Vidal, he definitely could carve out a decent role, and we already saw the explosiveness and the playmaking ability. So right now, if Dobbins went down, he would step in as the starting running back, and he's a valuable handcuff with Dobbins' injury concerns throughout his NFL career. The next back, Jalen Wright of the Miami Dolphins. Jalen Wright, he was on bye. We know still in the concussion protocol right now is Devon Achane, but Jalen Wright, he's a solid running back that I think could go out there and help fantasy owners in some deep leagues. And I believe Devon Achane not going to get 80% of the touches. I think Jalen Wright, he's going to move up over Raheem Mostert in the depth chart, and both those running backs are going to get work a lot for this Miami Dolphin team. And like I just said with Vidal, after bye weeks, rookie players, they see they're in the playbook more and get more playing time. Week 4 for Wright versus Tennessee, we saw some flashes on a few runs. 9 carries, 32 yards. And then week 5 in New England, 13 carries, 86 yards. So like I said, he's an explosive running back, rookie running back as well for this Miami Dolphin team. And he could go out there and he's good in between the tackles. Not much of a receiving back is Jalen Wright, but definitely someone who's got that burst and he's got that physicality and size to run in between the tackles a little bit more than Devon Achane, who's more of a finesse and an outside the tackles type of running back. Next back, Tyler Goodson of the Indianapolis Colts. Tyler Goodson, he looked like the better back last week for this Indianapolis Colts team. With Trey Sermon, he didn't do anything in that game, and Goodson the last couple weeks with Taylor out, 8 or more fantasy points in PPR leagues. Week 5 at Jacksonville, 5 carries, 26 yards, 3 catches, 31 yards. And week 6 at Tennessee, like I said, it outplayed easily Trey Sermon. 8 carries, 51 yards, 4 catches, 14 yards. So we'll see if Jonathan Taylor returns this week versus the Miami Dolphins. Well, we know those high ankle sprains are tricky, and we just saw Joe Mixon. He missed 3 weeks with the high ankle sprain, and he returned in last week's game and went off at the New England Patriots. So right now, Tyler Goodson looking like the better back, a better receiving back as well between him and Trey Sermon, and he's available in 96% of fantasy leagues. And the final back get off the wire is P.S. Strong of the Cleveland Browns, out there in 99% of fantasy leagues. Jerome Ford, he left the game with injury. He didn't return quickly in that one for the Cleveland Browns. I know Deonta Foreman got touches as well, but if anyone has upside out of the 2 backs, I believe it's P.S. Strong. He could catch the football out of the backfield, former New England Patriots. And we saw in a tough loss at the Philadelphia Eagles, 8 carries, 43 yards, 2 catches, 35 yards. I also know reports have come out that Nick Chubb is returning to the lineup. But let's say Ford's out and Nick Chubb returns, I still believe only Nick Chubb is going to get 50-60% of the touches. Coming off major knee injury, MCL, ACL, it was for Nick Chubb. Recovery, no doubt about it. He got hurt early in the season last year. It was Chubb. So like I said, obviously, if Ford's going to be out, P.S. Strong and Chubb are going to work the backfield, I believe, for this Cleveland Brown team. And he's got deep league appeal. Sets a few running backs I looked at off the wire for week 7 of the fantasy football season.